Nigel Hitchcock, I'm a saxophone player, and this evening I'll be playing with Andy Klinder on bass, with Spike Wells on drums, and Mark Edwards on piano. And actually for this particular occasion I'm standing in for a dear old friend of mine, Bobby Wellins, who's a wonderful saxophone player who undoubtedly these people have come to see. So I hope they're not too upset that they're going to see little old me instead of him tonight. When I was a kid, I've got a brother and two older sisters, and I was kind of forced to play second descant in the family recorder quartet. Okay. And then from there, my brother was also a professional saxophone player, and I kind of followed in his footsteps. We both went through the Leicester Jazz Orchestra, which is a big band that a lot of great musicians have come through in this country.
Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel, absolutely, you got it. And from there, I kind of went on to doing studio work and sessions and all sorts of things.
Okay, yeah, great.
I think when I was young, I listened. I've always been a jazz player, and I've listened to a lot of jazz, but it was never quite enough for me. I wanted to kind of master all other aspects of music. I like lots of classical music as well. Okay. And I like the thing of going into a studio and trying to make somebody else's music sound the best it can be, or play the right thing to picture. Okay. You know, if you're doing an advert for Esso and there's a tiger jumping over something, you have to play just the right thing that fits the picture, and I like that. You know, that appeals to me. Okay, well, it was probably because of Nigel. It would have been the early Nigel albums. Okay. And there was a saxophone player on there that particularly inspired me called Chris Hunter, who is now in New York and is kind of, dare I say, the understudy of David Sanborn, who is somebody that everybody really knows, you know. But then after that, you know, obviously I got into Charlie Parker and Cannonball Adderley. Michael Brecker is ultimately my hero. Okay. And yeah, I spent years listening to him every single day just to try and emulate that sound, you know. I was so addicted to it as a child that I couldn't put it down. You know, I was just fascinated by the whole thing. And if I learned a little phrase, I had to learn it in every key. You know, I was just kind of mad for it. And I did so much intense practice in the first few years. Okay. Actually, when I got to about 12 years old, I stopped practicing and started to listen and to become more of a musician instead of just emulating everything, copying everything, but trying to make my own thing now. You know?
Okay, that's great.
And so now I've got the perfect saxophone in my head. It's always the right weight. It's always got the right reed on. It always sounds perfect. And so when I'm sitting on the toilet, that's when I do most of my practice now. It's all done in the head, yeah. Or in the queue at Sainsbury's, you know. Exactly. I can do it anywhere now. So I'm always thinking about music, but I don't actually physically get my saxophone out too often.
Oh, great.
I think a lot of people are so enamoured with the whole aspects of music or jazz that they dip into so many different things. Right. And for me, I can undoubtedly say that the reason that I can do what I do is because I focus on one person's playing, or one or two people's playing, and I really analysed everything. Right. And so I would say, yeah, find somebody that just really turns you on so much, you have to know everything about that person's playing. That's difficult. I don't know. I didn't go to music college. You know, as I say, I did Nigel, but I didn't take music at college or anything like that. And because I was so young, I kind of fell into the business. Okay. But now it's becoming harder and harder, I've got to say. There are so many more great players around. It's really very difficult. I wouldn't know where to start and what to tell young people. Just find your path. If you love it, you'll get there.
Okay.
How did I get my first job? Well, in this business, it's all kind of word of mouth. Okay. So as soon as you start playing and you play good, you don't make mistakes, then it's about when somebody else can't make a gig, like tonight, for instance, you know. Right, and then somebody, well, who do we get? Well, I know that this guy can do it, you know. And then you get a reputation. If you keep that reputation, then people will find out who you are. I do often say to young players, don't worry about like trying to make yourself famous or trying to make yourself known. If you play great, it won't remain a secret.
Right, okay, so just be yourself.
Be yourself and just play, and people will find out who you are. Okay. I have to say that from the moment I started playing, Cherokee was a tune that was based on Indiana. So Charlie Parker, obviously, there's versions by every saxophone player of playing this tune. And for me, it's the most mathematically perfect tune to play around. For some reason, it just encourages the musician to go to all the places you want to go to. And I don't think I'll ever get over that tune. For me, it's my favourite. I just love to play it. Well, I've just been playing with Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, and we've been doing quite a lot of touring. And he's given me access to his studio, which is an incredible studio. Wow. And I've just taken a 30-piece orchestra in and recorded some music for an album I'm making called Hitchnosis. Okay. And it's kind of electric bass and drums with a symphony orchestra as my piano player, and then me playing over the top. So that's my thing. I love very deep harmonies, and to be able to write every note for everybody else except for me is just, that's where I... In jazz, it's about, you can express things in your own time, you know, and if you want to take 20 choruses, you can take 20 choruses, you know. In a pop setting, you've got 8 bars, and you have to tell the whole story in that, and there's a real art to making that 8 bars work. Probably, for me, more of an art than there is in playing a jazz solo, because it is so personal. And then in a classical setting, because I do some things where I improvise, but in a classical setting, and there the improvisation is much more about instant composition, if you know what I mean, because you can't actually play any wrong notes, you can't be sort of too out. So it's like trying to compose but instantly, and that really turns me on. I love that a lot. Hi, my name's Nigel Hitchcock, and you're watching Leicester Jazz House TV.